નમસ્કાર, હું આદર્શ છું. Adarsh Education Society welcomes you all here. Dear student friends, let's move ahead. The atmosphere was of a night and less people were out of their house. That much we have completed. We are moving ahead with the next second paragraph. Trying doors as he went, he, policeman, twirling his club with many intricate and artful movement now and then to cast in his watchful eye adorn. You see here, as a policeman, he has to observe artful movement of each one. Next to that one word is written twirling. How the atmosphere is. The atmosphere is with twirling. That is with cyclonic wind. Many intricate means it was so clumsy. Artful movements now and then, skillful, artful, skillful, how to move, where to move, when to move, now and there, here and there, off and on, to cast his watchful eye adorn the Pacific thoroughfare. Thoroughfare means in the entire path. Who is coming and who is going. It was so pacific, so sound, so silent. The officer with his stalwart with his brutal, harsh, hard form and slight swagger made a fine picture of a guardian of the peace. Guardian of the peace who loves the peace. This is the duty of a policeman who tries to maintain the peace, and so that his slight swagger, his attitude to crash anything else, made a fine picture of guardian who loves. Here, guardian means elders or who looks after. Who is the lover as the peace. Next to that one is the vicinity. What is nearby? Vicinity, what is near one? Was one that kept early hours, starting of the night, because the time is near about 10 o'clock. Now and then you might see the light of the cigar store, how we are here having pawn shop, like that they are used to have cigar and wine shop. We will see light very near to the cigar store all night, because the people would be used to there. And at the lunch counter to the hotel. But the thing is what? Majority doors, maximum people of that city belong to the business place that had long since been closed. Means that place where he was on his patrolling condition, there maximum shops were closed, because that was a commercial place. Next paragraph, what's there? When about midway of the certain block, here block is written. Block doesn't mean a log. Block means in metropolitan cities, area would be divided into block. That block is given over here. It's not a flat block or a log. It is concerned with an area. When about midway midway on the way of a certain block, the policeman suddenly slowed his walk. He observed something, and saw that he made himself little bit slow. In the doorway of a darkened hardware store, a man leaned. A man was standing over there. Where he was standing? In the darkness of a hardware store. That shows that where he means police was there. That was a commercial place, bazaar, marketplace, and very near to a hardware store, a man was standing, leaning in a slanting condition with an unlighted cigar. The word is unlighted cigar. It was so dark because night 10, and that was not the time that we were used. At present, we are used to have street lights. At the time, people were not having the facility of street light, so that it was so dark, so dark. In his mouth, as the policeman reached very near to him. The man spoke up quickly. Nothing was asked by the policeman, yet the man who leaned very near to the hardware store, he spoke quickly to the policeman. What he told? It's all right, officer, he said. I'm just waiting for a friend. Nothing was asked, yet he was speaking. He is giving assurance to the police that why he is there. I'm just waiting for a friend. It's an appointment made by 20 years ago. You see here what is written? 20 years. And from here only first time the title of this story is proved. Because what's title? After 20 years. What is the title of the story? After 20 years. So that the time period once first time is proved after 20 years. Why is it so? Because what happened before 20 years, that is narrated here. Sound a little funny to you. Here sound means, doesn't mean, but here sounds means if you will listen it. Here sounds means if you listen. It sounds a little funny to you, doesn't it? This is a question tag in this lesson only. After this, if it is possible, we'll move ahead with this topic also. Well, I will explain if you would like to make certain it's all straight. If you will like, I will explain why I'm here and what happened just before 20 years ago. 20 years ago, what happened? That I'll tell you if you will be here and if you will listen me. About that long ago means about 20 years ago. There used to be a restaurant where this store stands. Actually, where I'm here, this is what? This is a hardware store. And this hardware store, at the hardware store only, he was in a leaning condition there only. And actually this restaurant was there actually. And the name of that restaurant is Big Joe Brandy's restaurant. And that Brandy restaurant was earlier, just before 20 years ago, it was there. And here, now it's not there. Here it is a hardware shop. Until 5 years ago only, it was there. The policeman said, hey, it's not about 20 years ago, but just before 5 years ago also, one Big Joe Brandy's restaurant was existing here. It was torn down then. This, all the words are for that restaurant by the policeman. But earlier what he spoke, that a person who was leaning very near to the hardware store in a leaning condition, he spoke all these things. And policeman told just before 5 years ago also, it was there only. The man in the doorway struck a match and lit his cigar. You see, this is The most important action, this you will keep it in your mind. This is the first line, is most important action in this entire story. The man means the man who was near the hardware store in a leaning condition. What he did, up till now, cigar was in his mouth. He didn't light it, but he struck the matchstick, and then afterwards he lightened his cigar. And this is the thing from where the twist and the action of the story starts. What happened? This sentence you will keep it in your mind till the last end. What happened then? The light showed a pale, square, jowed face with keen eyes and little white scars near his right eyebrow. His scarf pin was a large diamond, and it was oldly set. You see here, this entire paragraph is the explanation of the person who was leaning exactly in front of the hardware store. How the person was? The person was with a pale face. How his jaw was? His jaw was square with his face. His face and jaw was square. How his eyes were? His eyes were so keen, so sharp. And he had a white scare very near to the right eyebrow. Even we are used to have this in our bodies. Somewhere else, when we were too small at that time, we would have fallen down and may have stitches like that. The white scares mark was very near to the right eyebrow of that fellow. He had adjusted a diamond large scarf pin. He would have put on that scarf due to the severe cold. But it was said there oddly, not in a right way. This is the physical description, appearance of the person who was standing, leaning, in a leaning condition against the hardware store. He continued. What he continued about his appearance after 20 years here, we'll move ahead next time. Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining us.